It's official. Shams reporting in the last hour that Tyrese Haliburton did, in fact, tear his Achilles. Listen, we saw it. We all knew it. I mean, when you go down like that, no contact, and you see the twitch in the back, and he's already got the calf injury. I mean, we've been through this before with Kevin Durant. Calf injury. Should he play? Should he not play? Is he going to be able to play? And then, just like when it went in the playoffs for him, he was dominating. It's just like, wow, he looks great. He's going to do this. Last night, Tyrese Haliburton, 3 threes in the first quarter, doing the Haliburton thing. And then pop goes the Achilles.
I couldn't believe when I looked at my phone and saw those texts from you guys, like, that happened. I was shocked because I was still trying to log on and watch the game.
I was watching it. You could see it immediately. The way he went down, the way he was
reacting.
His reaction, the emotion on his face, you could tell it was over.
And somebody said they read his lips and he said, I did it. I did it.
No, I think he was saying, personally, was that Carlisle who was first to him? I think he said Achilles. That's what I thought.
Okay. I didn't see it, so I'm just,
I'm sure he
maybe he did. He just knew it. Yeah. We all did.
I heard it.
It could have been here. Could have been that too.
But I sent Rich and Chris. I sent you guys the super slow mo video, just like with Aaron Rodgers. You can see the ripple.
I didn't click on that, man. I don't need to see it
because we've seen it so many times before.
Yeah,
including these playoffs. That makes 3 superstar players. All, by the way, who wear number 0.
That's
the craziest part.
Cooper pointed that out on the plane to me.
O'Shea said that to us, and I was like,
Dame Lillard, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Haliburton. All of them
wear number
in
0.
the playoffs, gone. And, Nick Van Exel, when it happened to Tatum, I think, or was it after when it happened to Lillard? It was in mid-May. He says it's because of the low riders that the players are wearing.
Really?
Yeah. Go high tops, cover your ankles is what he's saying.
That's interesting.
I've seen that being thrown out as a theory.
A lot of people do. I mean, the last guy who wore high tops that I can think tore their Achilles was Dominique Wilkins, and look how long ago that was.
But you got to wonder if the Pacers knew at the time that this was the end of it, even when they were performing as well as they did in the rest of the first half, to take a first half lead by 1 point into the locker room. Rick Carlisle afterwards trying to find the proper words.
What happened with Tyrese is just all of our hearts dropped. But he will be back. I don't have any medical information about what may or may not have happened, but he'll be back in time, and I believe he'll make a full recovery. So he authored one of the great individual playoff runs in the history of the NBA with dramatic play after dramatic play. It was just something that no one's ever seen.
I don't disagree with that, right? I know we spent a segment earlier on the program talking about SGA's season being one of the greatest ever. But in terms of playoff run, second half of the season all the way through to the playoffs. I think I sent you guys a post that I saw somewhere on Threads about, somebody listed Bucks and Bucks and 4, Bucks and 5, Bucks and 6, Cavs and 4, Cavs and 5, Cavs and 6, Cavs and 7. Same thing with the Knicks and same thing with the Thunder. And then next to Thunder and 7, it pointed, "You are here." And the gist of that post was nobody thought the Pacers would keep going.
Routinely doubted.
Nobody thought the Pacers would eventually knock off the Bucks and eventually knock off the Cavs. And the person who knocked off the Bucks and the person who really put the Cavs in trouble was Haliburton. We all recall what happened with Haliburton eliminating the Bucks because it eliminated his dad from being in the arena for a couple of series. And then beating the Cavs to go up 2-0. Winning the first 2 in Cleveland was the Haliburton moment. We all know what happened in Game 1 against the Knicks of that series. And then in Game 1 of this series of the NBA Finals, Haliburton hitting that last-second shot. And every single time, the Pacers came within 3 possessions or 4 possessions of of a lead that they were down far more than that in the playoffs, you thought to yourself, well, this is doable.
Oh, here we go again.
And the person who made that a possibility, with all due respect to, Neesmith, who made shots, and Nembhard, who made shots in that game 1 against the Knicks, and Siakam. I mean, it was Haliburton. It was Tyrese Haliburton. And I think he will forever have this clutch moniker. And he earned it with these playoffs. He earned it.
Yeah.
And
it's so disrespectful to the Thunder, but I'm going to remember Haliburton most about this NBA playoffs and when I think about this season and what happened. I mean, he had so many moments. The Sam Cassell dance, the two-handed choke.
Well,
he had the moments.
But the Thunder don't have that player with that sort of edge.
No, they don't.
Right? You know what I mean? Like,
and that's what makes them so great.
They don't have somebody who's going to tell you, you've choked.
No, as Jay pointed out,
back in the day,
they do all their interviews as a group after the game.
Nobody's gonna take the shot if it's SGA or Williams or Dort or anybody and show off the size of their church bells.
Did you see
that's but in this day and age, that's what gets the clicks or the conversation. Or did you see that? Like, nobody's saying that about SGA getting his 5th and 1 of a game.
They're kind of a boring championship team. Did you see the report after the game that
be careful with that word?
I don't know. Afterward, there was tables full of champagne and beers that just unopened. They weren't celebrating. They weren't going nuts. They didn't have the goggles moment that everybody does now. They're just kind of, okay. And I don't think they're going to, if this is the only one they ever get, they're going to be quickly forgotten.
I think the biggest viral moment out of the celebration by the Thunder was Hartenstein having his infant and not supporting his son's head.
Baby was sleeping.
He was asleep. And his head was but
it's pretty funny.
His teammates, SGA, with maybe the most important assist of Game 7 night, he was one of those. He's hey man, your son's head just needs a little support. Did you see SGA reached his hand out to support?
They went to commercial.
Baby's head.
They went to commercial. The baby was awake. They came back from commercial. He was out. It was 2 minutes.
I thought you were going to say the most memorable was pregame, where the video of the buses for the parade route was going viral.
That's what Rick Carlisle in his pregame press conference was saying. I just saw the video of these buses that have already been, I guess, wrapped with a championship banner or whatever.
Yeah, the decals.
Yeah, the decals. Right. And he was talking about that, and it's just bulletin board material. And I'm sure he played that up in the locker room before Game 1. And the Pacers certainly, before the first quarter of Game 7, the Pacers certainly responded in a way like they were having none of it. But man, you just knew it's just no matter how much resilience the Pacers were showing in the second quarter, it's there's too much. There's too much time left for adrenaline to take you the rest of the way. It will have to come down to execution, half court, full court, 94 feet of action for them to pull this thing off with, everybody chanting OKC every 2 seconds. They didn't stop. These fans don't stop. The whole arena's got the stamina of that wall in the Clippers arena, where you're wondering who's been actually paid off to have that sort of zeal for the Clippers.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, I'm serious.
I was
wait.
I'm being dead on accurate here, man. When the Clipper game we went to, there were these 2 people. It was regular season, and they were going nuts.
Yeah, it's fans right there, bro. They have to be paid.
They got to earn their $150.
I don't know.
You guys are hating.
I did respect
I shouldn't say those
the
things out
smattering
loud,
of yellow in the crowd last night.
I
like
big
that.
ups to those Pacers fans,
including Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
All the Knick fans, they were somewhere and I kind of was. It was my Knick fan friends. It's like the Lonzo Mourning gif.
Yeah.
Where we're hey, gotta respect Reggie Miller for liking his team, but man, he was calling the Knicks Eastern Conference Finals. That guy, he was supposed to be, completely.
His son too is wearing a T-shirt with Reggie doing the choke on it.
Good for him, Good for him. But I did feel for the Haliburtons who are now, sitting there in the stands for their kid. or their whatever relation they are to Haliburton. When I mean that, I mean whether I think they were cousins or whatever, extended family.
Yeah.
They were all sitting in their seats, watching Tyrese Haliburton go off in the first quarter, and this is the moment they've all been waiting for. Game 7, whole world is watching, and now suddenly they're no longer in their seats; they're in the tunnel, standing outside, waiting to find out information about how intact the Achilles was. Even though they knew it, it just was a killer. And then to see him on his crutches, welcoming his teammates back after they lost. Oh, that is not the way this series. Like,
That's not how this was supposed to end.
Well,
man.
I mean, again, it was supposed to end with him on the floor, win or lose. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. But this, I mean, it's so cruel. So cruel. And I don't want to hear it from Bucks fans or Cavs fans or my fellow Knicks fans to say, well, he's just, lived by the choke and the church bells, the karma was coming back.
No, man.
Were people throwing that out there?
I got your karma right here. Stop it with that.
No, it's just.
Man, he's an entertainer.
Yeah. Yeah. The same way that Caitlin Clark, after she tossed that 3 on the Connecticut Sun, over J.C. Sheldon the other day, and then she's just like going like this to everybody. I guess Indiana's got show people,
Right? Yeah.
And in the same way that I love that from Caitlin Clark,
right.
Trust me, I did not want to see this from Tyrese Haliburton. That was an unkind cut, especially since when he did this, there was that 5-second interval between that moment and the broadcast saying his foot was on the line.
Yeah,
It was overtime.
Yeah,
I thought it was, in fact, over.
Yeah.
And it was 2.0. I didn't want to see
he made light of it in the post game. He made fun of that too. Might have jumped the gun.
It is entertainment.
Yeah.
And he provided it all year. And Pacers fans should just be over the moon about how good this team is. You've got the right coach. You got the right mix. They're young too, right? I mean, who's the longest in the tooth there? Siakam and Turner?
Yeah, I think
right?
Turner's like the
he's the OG,
tenured,
right?
He's 10 years.
How many times, by the way, was he supposed to be traded at the deadline?
Right.
To somebody else.
He was in every rumored deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Siakam's 31. He'll be 30.
He's
just turned 30.
so amazing. So
yeah, his stock definitely went up.
But I think now that Haliburton's hurt, and the Pacers will now, like, who's going to put them the shot to win the Eastern Conference again next year?
Like, you just lost the heart and soul of the team
and
for a year.
Tatum's out. Man, is there tons of rumor that Jaylen Brown could wind up with the Rockets too? You're hearing that because somebody's got to get
a lot of rumors.
Yeah.
I have. Okay, well, if that would change everything, then
Well, it feels like in the East now, and I'm just looking at odds right now. It's Cleveland, it's the Knicks, it's Orlando, even Boston is right there. But
what are the Sixers odds?
Sixers are 11-1. They're 5th.
Because I kind of feel like
Pacers are 14-1.
Sixers had a lot of injuries. I know no one's talking about them. A lot of injuries last year. Embiid luckily got the surgeries I think that he needed. That's a solid. I think we're a solid team in the good way, not the way Rich doesn't like solid. No one's talking about us.
I don't like solid. I don't like solid because you don't want to be solid. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.